November 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to give you a rundown of what the planets are doing here in November, and I'm going to look at the things that I think are most significant and how they're going to influence you. The point of these horoscopes is to try and get a sense of where the good things are, like where it's easy, and where some of the potential obstacles lie, so you can avoid those. So the first thing that I noticed about November is that on the 4th, we have Saturn, the planet which is really associated with structure and security and a sense of this is the core bottom line. Like Saturn return is often kind of talked about with dread and like, oh my God, I've got my Saturn return coming. But it's really that sense of this is what I'm supposed to do in my life, even if I've kind of got off track and gone in a completely different direction. There's something bigger that's pulling me and saying, listen, this is your life, and actually, yes, you do have your own plans and things, but this is what really could work for you. I don't know if you've had those moments, but like I have in my life, and it's often like when it comes, it's like you're kicking and screaming against it. It's a really odd sensation. So with Saturn going direct, when any of the planets are retrograde, so when they appear to go backwards, then the energy is said to kind of manifest internally, right? So with Saturn in retrograde, there's an inner sense of structure and like, I'm okay. And particularly in Pisces, there's a sense of spirituality and connection with that structure. So with the planet going direct on the 4th of November, the shift is that now it's moving forward again. You get this feeling of there is security to be had out in the physical world. It's not just internally on a spiritual level, but I can kind of create, like a sense of home in a real world setting with an actual address, So that for you guys, Libra, is in your 6th house of daily routine and work. And it gives you a real sense of opportunity in terms of there are things that I can do out in the world, particularly work-wise. So if it's paid work or if it's something I'm working on, this makes me feel really useful. It makes me feel like it can add something really valuable out to the world. And it's kind of like associated, weirdly, I'm getting, not usually, but in this case, a sense of like I'm proving this to myself in order to feel good. The strongest elements on the 4th of November are water and earth. Water, they're both feminine elements, so it's about I'm influenced by things that are coming to me. I'm not creating them. I'm listening, I'm responding to experiences, circumstances. So it's an interesting start for you guys, Libra specifically, because you have this amazing self-awareness that says this is what I can kind of build towards in a real world setting, and I have like the ability to identify the dream here and then to take the action steps to pursue it. Very kind of practical, can do, yes. On the 8th of November, we've got Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, and the tarot that's associated with the Empress. And the image is of this woman who's dressed with like such abundance all around her. She's got pomegranates on her dress. The wheat is kind of ready to harvest. Sometimes she's pregnant. There are woods around her. There's a little a stream. So it's really about beauty in nature, being able to connect and to build something that is charming and engaging and makes things more beautiful, right? So that rules Libra. So it's very happy in that placement. And it's in your 1st house of self in your sign. So really, for you, if there's anything new you want to connect to, a new friendship, a new business, a new way of working, a new country, a new way of thinking, anything new basically, where because your glyph, Libra, is a bridge with a bump in it, it's also the scales, I realize that. But you're able to overcome the like gray zone in between you and what keeps you separate from other things. Also, if you're creative, you're going to find yourself being very prolific. So if you've suffered from writers or artists block lately, that's not going to continue. On the 10th of November, we have Mercury, the communication planet, that goes into Sagittarius. It was in Scorpio. So when Mercury is in Scorpio, it's about what's the root problem here? How do I really feel about it? Or what's the agenda behind everything? What is going on here really? And that's very much, let's look within. In Sagittarius, it's about let's go out there and share what we're thinking. Let's not censor ourselves. And it's in your third house of communication at 0 degrees, obviously, because it's changing signs. But the 10th of November particularly will be a major shift, and then together with your ruler Venus in Libra, also in a very creative placement, it's time for me to express myself, particularly creatively, and to express my opinion on things. At the same time, on the 10th of November, you've got the Sun, Mars. So the Sun is what you're striving towards, your identity. Mars is drive. The transiting midheaven is your work. And Ceres is a sense of plenty. And they're all in Scorpio in your second house. So you really are committed to what you're doing at the moment. You've got the lucky planet Jupiter and Uranus, the planet of change and transformation and chaos and the unexpected, in your 8th house of institutions. So you may be in the middle of something really important that you want to implement, that you're working towards, especially if you're working with other people, you'll have razor sharp focus on that. And then with Venus and Mercury kind of flanking all that Scorpio energy in your second, it's going to be, I deliver this with charm and I put my own self and creativity in it. And I'm looking at how this can not only be something I'm working towards, but it can be a mission that involves other people and allows other people to participate, contribute, and chip in. Wow. So you're like the perfect teacher here in November. You're really able to take information and pass it on. You're able to express yourself creatively, and you're able to do wonders when it comes to your relationships with institutions. So what I'm getting here is that if you are someone, I'm saying a creative person, but what I mean by that is creativity is very closely linked to spirituality, as far as I'm concerned, and feel free to disagree with me. Every creative impulse or creative thing comes from some sort of spiritual connection, whether you call that your creative, talent, or whether you call it your gut that wants to express itself, or some sort of impulse, or, they're very finely linked. So it's not just that you're creative, but also you're so connected where all that creativity stems from. So if you work with spiritual things, energy healing, divination systems, again, I'm being drawn back to the art, like a designer or something. This is really your month where if you need to do the 20,000 word thesis, if that's creative, and I think that's a dissertation, not a thesis. Anyway, if you need to do a bulk, a huge chunk of work, and it's not just something you can create, it requires, your creativity and all of that stuff, you're going to do really well with that. And that could open the doors for other people to contact you and say, we like what you're doing, here's an opportunity. And that then is even underpinned by Saturn going direct on the 4th, which says, of course you can build something here with this collaboration. So it's really good in that sense. 13th of November, we have a new moon in Scorpio. That happens in your second as well. So you'll get a clear understanding of, this is how I'm creating an income. This is what my physical world and environment looks like. Am I happy with it? Yes, great. Let's build on it. If I'm not happy, then let's change it. Very can do. Which is interesting for Scorpio. I wouldn't say Scorpio is particularly black and white. I would say Capricorn is black and white. But this is the answer. The mathematical equation outcome. So here's what we're going to do about it. So you're really like this here, chop chop in November. So that's the main theme. We're talking the axis of Scorpio with all that energy in your second house of physical belongings, and then Jupiter and Uranus in your 8th house of institutions. So what you're feeling and doing and producing is going to connect you very strongly with people out there. That continues until the 23rd. The 23rd, the Sun goes into Sagittarius in your 3rd house. So it's not just I communicate and I'm creative and I express myself. I am the creative voice. That's what defines me. So you completely that's your main focus here. On the 24th of November, we've also got Mars joining all of that other energy in Sagittarius in your 3rd house of communication. Mars is really what you can't leave alone. You feel so fascinated by it and driven by it and motivated by it. You've got to pursue it. Strongest element on the 24th is fire, which has to do with your life purpose and what you're really passionate about. Then we've got your Sun, you're transiting midheaven in Mercury. So if you work in the media, if you work as a writer, in communication, anything, I have to put myself out into the public sphere, into the limelight. Those things are amazing. So if you're going for your, video interview that you have to record it on the 24th. On the 27th of November, we have a full moon in Gemini. And the full moon in Gemini, I really like in itself because it's so fun and positive and chatty and communicative. Not everyone likes that, but for me, that's always interesting. I like talkers. That's in your ninth house of education and travel and exploration and adventure. And Gemini, if you look at it, it's a glyph that kind of looks like the Roman numeral 2 with a floor and a ceiling. And it creates a doorway. So it's really what kind of new opportunities are out there, what can I explore? And the moon being your heart, it's really this comfortable sense of what else is out there I want to explore for fun. And it opposes the sun in Sag, which is fire and the centaur and exploration in itself, and Mars, which is your drive. So the full moon for you, please go on a trip if you can, do something like amazing, like create a memory that you'll remember forever, like whether that's a trip or some sort of experience, bucket list moment that you've always dreamed of. We've got 3 of the outer planets, Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. Those are retrograde at the moment. So those are responsible for this great sense of intuition and imagination. And then also a feeling that if you give voice to that, you're going to get a good result, which is 90% of the journey, the self-confidence that this is good, I want to do something about it. And all the personal planets are direct, just FYI. So the communication is good, your creative expression is good and not stifled. What's the other one? Mars, Mercury, Venus. And Mars is direct, so energy, focus, being able to make progress, not being crippled by self-doubt, hampered by self-doubt is a better word. So that's what I get for you here in November. I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. Have a wonderful month and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.